I know my avatar choice is irrelevant to the topic of the video, but I just wanted to use Teddy, okay? Besides, Meta's background is Crash Bandicoot, so I feel that I'm allowed some irrelevant imagery today. Oh yeah, it's Meta today, isn't it? A well-known punching bag in the commentary community, and for good reason sometimes, but at least he seems to be trying. To be honest, this is one of his better commentaries, but, well, this video's mere existence should clue you in that I've got a few issues with it. This is his recent video on Psylocke top 10 worst Gen 7 Pokemon. Some of you may recall his collaborative list of Pokemon that shouldn't exist, but I've also seen him do some good videos, my favorite being his top 10 Kirby enemies as Pokemon video, link in the description. Without further ado, let's get on with the show.
Top 10 worst Gen 7 Pokemon. Wow, nice clickbait, Psylocke.
I know what's wrong with it, but I'm leaving it in.
First, you've got an audio balancing problem. I had some difficulty hearing what you were saying because you forgot to lower the volume of the portion you were talking over. Second, I agree that lamp shading without resolution is just as much of a problem, but at least the video is indicative of what the title promises and isn't written in a fashion that was specifically designed to piss people off, like Pokemon that shouldn't exist, for example. In this case, the lamp shading is fine.
Do you?
How could this happen to me? I made my mistake.
I personally don't mind you using an overused sound clip like that, but even though I don't get tired of it, you should be careful about it, since this is something that other people will get on your case for doing, since a lot of people have used that song.
The problem people would have with it is being used in a non-creative fashion. If used smartly and cleverly, no one would care as much. Also, the skip effect is just a brief flash of an overscanned skip button. No music, no flashy effects, nothing remotely funny. I'm not asking you to copy my skip shtick. I'm just asking you to add a little pizzazz to your skip. This is still entertainment after all. Some text indicating what you're skipping and why wouldn't hurt either.
And beyond that, I do want to iterate, these entries are based on designs and designs only. So if I end up putting something on this list as a super dark Pokédex entry or whatever the heck, note that I'm only focusing on the appearances of these guys. Because, you know, I'm super shallow or whatever.
And that's where this list begins to fall flat on its face. You're saying these Pokemon are the worst because of designs alone. That's why you should change the title to Top 10 Worst Designed Pokemon.
The design is still a major factor to a Pokemon as well as its appeal. Would you rather have your partner be a Raptor Mantis or a Rock with arms? I'm assuming what Psylocke means by this is that he's not really a competitive player and bases his opinions of a Pokemon primarily on their designs than their types and battle value. A lot of casual players would likely share a similar viewpoint.
Psylocke,
Yeah?
are you sure you aren't just making this video to piss people off? Are you sure?
No, I seriously just thought this would be a fun video to make.
Yeah, well then how do you explain that?
Look, I can explain.
Ties are something that are looked down upon by many members of the Countdown community nowadays. I don't really have a problem with ties myself, but when it's a tie between 9 different Pokemon, that's insane.
Well, you can seriously condense it by saying that a lot of players bunch an evolution line as a single Pokemon, since the final stage is often the natural end result most players will seek anyway. I see a Mudkip and think primarily of the Swampert I'm going to get. Things like that are what save commonly mocked Pokemon like Zubat, since Crobat is awesome! Besides, ties like this can work if they share many things in common to justify their place, but none do anything better or worse enough to justify putting any of them higher or lower.
My only problem is, despite thinking the design looks solid enough, does this look like a starter to you? It certainly doesn't to me. It looks like one of the field birds you find early on in the game.
It's an owl, so of course it's going to look like Hoot Hoot. It's like complaining about how Zubat and Woobat look alike. They're fucking bats! Let's go back to the starters then. Pigs, azalatols, alligators and or crocodiles, foxes... Monkey! What exactly constitutes an authentic starter Pokemon designed to use Psylocke? Would Pikachu or Eevee count since they're both used as starters and found in the wild depending on the game?
The game literally states that he, quote-unquote, is going through a phase.
Really? You're going to have a long subtitle on the screen for a split second? Do you realize what you're doing? You're making your audience have to work during this video by having to keep rewinding and pausing on the right clip.
That's part of the joke. In the text it outright says at the end, anyways, you can unpause the video now. Love you. Love you too, sweetheart. Wait, did I just say that? Motherfucker!
Also, can I just point out that this thing only has a little more than a 1 out of 10 chance of being a female? Yeah, Miss Popstar over here, most likely a dude.
While I agree with you that this is a problem with Bryony, nearly all starter Pokemon have an 87.5 to 12.5 ratio of being male and female. This would have been a better point if you were to say, this is why the whole starter ratio doesn't work for Poplio, or something like that.
Isn't that what he's getting at in a roundabout way? You don't have to spell everything out to your audience like that.
Hey, stop being sexist. Mermaids can be guys too. No, they can't. Otherwise, they're just called mermen. Mermaid is a portmanteau of the words mer and may. May being a word that refers to the female sex. Psylocke, nobody cares. Then just stop. It's always something with you.
Psylocke, I know you're trying to be funny, but this drags on for way too long. Seriously, you spent about 24 seconds on that Kermit footage, or should I say Constantine footage because of his shorter collar. Now bear with me. This isn't the only time he has one of those clips go on for too long, but I cut most of them out because I don't want to repeat myself.
For a bit like that, it's honestly not that long, and the pacing's fine enough for it to not feel like it dragged on. If it went on for like 40 seconds to a minute, it'd be one thing.
Oh no. Please don't make a Trump joke. Please don't make a Trump joke. Please don't make a Trump joke!
Trumpy, you can do stupid things!
Also, he evolves into Donald Trump.
That's it!
I hate this so much that I'm going to blow up the realm of darkness?
And if the design wasn't enough, the thing is also a dragon type. Why? Its type alone made it a meme.
I can understand the whole it's typing alone made it a meme point, but to answer your question as to why it's a dragon type, I did some research and it's basically based off the Dracania tree, which contains over 100 types of trees in Hawaii and are called dragon trees.
Its type may be a reference to the Dracana genus. It may also be a pun inspired by the coca, a dragon whose name shares the same origins as the word coconut, and Alolan Executor resembles a coconut tree. So, consider the coconut! Come on, what else am I going to make that reference?
I think the best part about Alolan Trio, well, besides memes, are the Pokedex entries. And no, Kermit, before you say anything, these didn't factor into the votes, I just thought they were funny.
I'm sorry, what?
These didn't factor into the votes, I just thought they were funny.
Did you just say votes? Are you saying this whole list is based off some kind of contest that you held and asked people to vote on this? But you just said earlier...
So while this may seem needless to most people, I do feel obligated to say this list is based on my opinions. I mean, no shit, right? It is a top 10 after all.
So what is it? Is this your personal opinion? What do people vote on it? The description doesn't explain this, the title doesn't explain this, so what am I supposed to think? Your wording of this confuses me to no end.
Come on, Meta, we've all used words before without realizing what they mean in the context we use them in. It's clear that he means that they didn't factor into his thoughts on Alolan Dugtrio.
The entry in Sun says, its shining gold hair provides it with protection. Yeah, those crazy mad defense skills, all in the hair, baby.
While I do agree it's a very lazy design choice, I have an answer to your question of how the hair protects it. It's based on something called Pale's hair. It's supposedly formed from the stretching of basaltic grass from lava. It's not recommended to touch because it's supposedly very sharp. That's where I think they were going with this.
And where Psylocke was going with his segment was that Alolan Dugtrio was described as having added protection with its hair, despite still having a pitiful defense stat. To be fair, the added protection could be referring to its tangling hair ability, dropping the opponent's speed when it's hit with a move that makes contact with it. And I'll end it here because the rest of Meta's arguments are valid. To be honest, I'm sure that both have heard what I'd have to say, and it's odd to condense and therefore repeat the main points at the end like I'm Hammerman or something. Learn from your mistakes, think your scripts through, blah blah blah. You've all seen the video and you should all get the point by now. I'm Transformers Fanco328, and compared to my other commentaries, this one was rather barren? This is what I get for having Teddy for an avatar.